Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Crowd Assist podcast here, presented by Outlet Liquor with Trainwreck Sports. Your friend Jake here with Mitchy Picks. Mitch, how we doing today? Beautiful, beautiful sunny afternoon, both here in Chicago, Illinois, and back home in Buffalo, New York.
Gorgeous.
You can't really beat a May weather week like we've had this week, man. It's been absolutely it's rewarding for what we've really had to deal with, because I know both here and there, it's just been literally miserable up until this week. It's just been crazy.
The last 2 weeks we've experienced all four seasons. It's been
It is wild, dude. Like spring is something else. But last night, a staple of spring, how the NFL manages to still take over the news every single month, and they leaked out the schedule all week. We've been following the leaks and everything, but finally last night we had the entire Bills schedule, the whole NFL schedule come out. So Mitch, just before we dive into the Bills schedule and get into our draft and explain that to the folks, what is one matchup you're really looking forward to? Because we're watching Bills games, but we're watching all the NFL games the whole year too. So what's something you're looking forward to planning to just sit down and enjoy for all 3 hours?
With the acquisition of Thursday Night Football by Amazon, the entire Thursday night slate is really, really good this year compared to last X amount of years. With Kirk Herbstreit in the booth, that's a great addition. But the game that I'm super pumped about is a Sunday Night Football game, and that's the rematch of the Super Bowl from 2 years ago, Chiefs and Bucks in Tampa Bay. That's a game that I'm really excited to sit down and watch. I'm pumped for that.
How about how blessed we are? I guess blessed. Those are two quarterbacks that Bills fans usually don't enjoy watching. But as a quarterback lover watching great quarterback play, the fact that we get another Mahomes-Brady matchup, we're just blessed to have that again. Those two matching up in the same stadium they met in the Super Bowl too. That's going to be great theater. Great choice, Mitch. Great choice. I'm going to one of the holiday games. Love me Christmas Day. The fact that I'm a screen person all the time, so NBA and football next to each other on all Christmas Day. Sign me up for that. And I'm looking straight at the 4:30 matchup of Russell Wilson and his Denver Broncos facing the Los Angeles Rams, defending Super Bowl champs, who I'm sure we're going to talk about here in our upcoming schedule draft quite a bit. The fact that Russ has so much history with the Rams beat up the Seahawks so many. Think of how many times the Rams surprised the Seahawks and beat them over the years when no one thought about it. They've been a thorn in his side forever. It's one of the great rivalries out there in the NFC West, just beating up on each other. And to see it Christmas Day, SoFi Stadium, Los Angeles, Nickelodeon, it's the slime game. You got to tune in for at least a little part of the quarter for the slime. You got to see a touchdown. There's nothing like the
Broncos. The Broncos are going to be fascinating this year. They have all the tools. They have all the hype to be this great team. But that division right now is such an absolute gauntlet. They could miss out on the playoffs for all we know. That's a team that I'm really interested to watch and to see how they unfold.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting season in Denver, and just the AFC West in general is a war zone. The AFC North that we're going to see all year is going to be a war zone. The AFC just is loaded, and we see a lot of teams coming up. So let's get into our schedule draft without further ado, because the only schedule Bills fans mostly cared about was obviously the Bills schedule.
I was following up on the leaks all day, whereas last year we knew the schedule by 10 in the morning, and this year, me and my buddies are going back and forth sending each other leaks, and then an hour would go by and all the leaks would be false, and it was tough to keep up on. There were false leaks everywhere, and then a couple hours before this officially came out, the official confirmed leak came out, so we were dead set on our schedule. We were at one point we were playing Sunday night or Thanksgiving night against the Bengals, I think, at one point, and it was all over the place, but the schedule came out, and let's roll.
It was that with this, we got this official schedule. I don't even remember what time we got this official schedule. It was like 3:00 or whatever when it first came out, and it seemed pretty good. Everybody seemed pretty sure about that. But yeah, there was that other schedule that floated around in the morning, and it was completely different from this.
Yeah.
Had a lot of different games everywhere. The schedule chaos that we had this year, it was different this year. I think it was because they decided they were going to leak it slowly themselves, like they were going to be a part of the leaks. So it just played into the chaos of the whole week. But it was fun. So yeah, that's a look at the schedule of the Bills for the Bills right there. Official there. We've got a couple primetime games, obviously at home. Week 2, we knew about that earlier in the week, but a nice matchup the night before Halloween against Green Bay on Sunday night. That's going to be incredible.
Going to be
season opener in Los Angeles. Like we kind of all thought it was going to be that. Like it was. They basically hinted at it for like 3 months. Like the rumor, it was like the worst kept secret in the NFL. That Rams Bills is going to be the opener.
Just made too much sense.
It really did. And that's gonna. I mean, that's going to be such an electric atmosphere. Because it's notorious for both those LA teams to get taken over by other teams' fans. So imagine how much Bills Mafia is going to want to travel to Los Angeles for the season opener. And the fact that it's going to be their ring ceremony is just, it's going to be a crazy scene. Like seeing like Bills flags and shit.
Yeah.
And like, it's going to be like, I bet you it's like maybe not 50-50, but like 70-30, like a pretty good split of Bills fans. We know there's a lot of West Coast. I shout out our West Coast Bills fans, a lot of transplants out there that are all going to try to get into SoFi. That's a great road primetime game. Thursday night football. Can't skip over Thanksgiving. That's primetime in itself. Another Thanksgiving matchup they got against the Detroit Lions. Are you interested in the drive to Detroit? How do you feel about that, Mitch?
I won't be going to Detroit for that one, but the fact that you can wake up Thanksgiving morning after going out on Thanksgiving Eve the night before, wake up, immediate Bills game, watch us beat the shit out of the Lions, and then stuff your face with food for the rest of the day. It sounds like an absolute perfect day to me.
It does sound like a perfect day. So then the next week at New England, Thursday night football, I don't have to say anything about that. We know what that's going to be like there. A Christmas Eve matchup here in Chicago, which disappointing a lot of fans. They've all the same sentiment that you shared with me. Yeah, man, I was planning on going to that game, but not Christmas Eve. Me living here was definitely planning on going to Soldier Field to see the Bills, but alas, I'm sure there'll be a good Bills contingent still there that lives here in Chicago going out to that game, so that'll be nice.
Yeah, that would have been a huge destination game for football if that game was in September or October.
You want to know what? I honestly think the Bears might have been like, yo, can we have that game like on a day like that? Because the amount of Bills fans that are probably in this city and that we're going to try to go to Chicago, and who knows what the Bears are going to look like. That could have been a crazy scene. At Cincinnati for, I believe, the Monday Night Football finale, before obviously the finale will be their wild card game, but the regular season finale, in which should be a great matchup. And then the end of the season with New England, that could get flexed, as well as the earlier game against the Dolphins. So we're going to have some fun here in the next little bit. We're just going to draft our most exciting matchups. So basically, like whatever you want to use in your head there, Mitch, that you think is your formula. If it's the games you would want to go to, if you just think it's the matchup on the field, like the players you're most excited to beat, whatever reasoning you want to give, it's all up to you. It's all up to me too. And then we're just going to go down the schedule. I've got a little fancy Excel sheet up here pulled up for myself, and I'll keep track of us. And maybe we'll keep track of this during the year, send it out. If one of us has a better record, I don't know. We'll try to think. We'll ask the rest of our team what we should do. But it's nothing too crazy. I'm not a wild person like that. This ain't no jackass like Stevie and Meerkat over there doing whatever they're doing all the time. So I'm gonna give you the first pick, Mitch. I was gonna do a coin flip, and I completely forgot. We could do it right now.
Could do it. You got it.
Okay, Mitch, you're a gracious man. So I'm gonna go with. Man, this is so tough because there's so many great choices. I think I am selecting the home primetime game and taking the Bills and the Packers, though, because just Aaron Rodgers. Only going to be his second appearance at Ralph Wilson Stadium, or whatever field it's called. I call it Ralph Wilson Stadium, no matter what. They upset them last time when they were in town. So have that history that they can go off of. But just the chance to have a legendary quarterback that you don't get to see. I was lucky enough when I was younger, when Brett Favre and the Packers came to visit, I got to see that matchup, one of the best moments of my life. So I imagine a bunch of people going to see Rodgers on a Sunday night, nonetheless. The atmosphere is just going to be nuts. So
it's going to be
give me that.
Halloween weekend. Energy is going to be through the roof. Yeah, it's going to be an absolute – coming off a bye week too, people are going to be itching to play football again. It's a good pick.
I had to do it. So what's your pick here?
So I don't see any other choice. I have to go with the rematch against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Woo! All right, give me your
knocked us out the last 2 years.
Yep.
This is, in everybody's mind, the team that stands in our way. We all know the story of the game last year. We have all the excuses. We have all the evidence. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. That's where, that's going to be the game that, we win. We could feel we got over the hump.
Yep.
And if we lose, we're nervous again. So that's got to be the game that I'm looking forward to the most in terms of Buffalo Bills football.
Can't go wrong with that after the game, regardless of the outcome, what we witnessed in January, to want to follow up and see this again. Follow up and see after how these two quarterbacks, how close they get. We see they are in the match coming up. Literally, that's right around the corner. Like, that's going to be an interesting subplot too. These guys have a great relationship. Seeing them get together has been special so far. Can't go wrong with that. 4:30, it's going to be Jim Nantz, Tony Romo. Nice Sunday afternoon, week 6, early in the season. So it's nice. I love the early season matchups against like these elite teams that we're going to keep talking about, or mid-season, because so much changes when it gets to December, January, whatever, that when you see the matchup, it feels fresh.
We beat the Chiefs early in the regular season last year.
Yeah, and think of how much different the Bills and the Chiefs were, their team, just everything, their play style and everything else by the second matchup. They were completely different teams, it felt like. So great pick there at KC. That's the number 2 overall pick. So I'm going to go with man, this is so hard. I'm going with another road game at Baltimore. I'm taking the Ravens. That is week 4. And I mean, they're not as electric matchups, I would say, as the matchups with Kansas City have been the last 2 times. But we had a great, obviously, the theater of that playoff game, the 17-10 victory, the grinded out battle that they had there on a Saturday night in Buffalo. But even the first time they met was a 24-17, same type of game, just not as bad of weather. They match up really well with each other, these two teams, because they're opposites. So I'm really excited to see the Bills go down to Baltimore. Low-key, Baltimore is like my favorite place in the NFL to watch a TV game. I would love to go there because they've got the railings that make all the noise, and it just feels like everything's really close and it's loud the whole time.
That might be the road game me and my buddies decide to go on this.
That would be a great one. That'd be a great one because that's a great atmosphere, and they're gonna get up for that. And it's a 1:00 start too. Like, this would have been a cool primetime game, but I don't know. Like, there's something about just having like the big games in the 1:00 windows too that just feels nice. Like, when like red zone's going to be stuck on the Bills game basically the whole 1:00 window. That's a nice feeling still too. So what do you got here with number 4?
I'm gonna go with the home opener.
There we go.
Titans, September 19th, Monday Night Football. I mean, that's just going to be an electric.
What more do you need
day,
to say?
An electric night.
Weekend.
Everybody's gonna get up and go out for that. It's gonna be gorgeous outside, I would imagine. I mean, it's one thing to tailgate, for a Sunday 1:00 home opener game, which is always a blast, but there's just gonna be something that feels different about this one. Monday Night Football coming into town. It just feels like a bigger game, and we're trying to redeem ourselves against Tennessee last year. I was in Tennessee for that Josh Allen getting his foot stepped on, 4th and inches. That was a heartbreaker. Looking back on it, that game was a likely reason we didn't have home field advantage in the playoffs. That home opener, Monday Night Football against the Titans, is my next pick. It's going to be electric.
man, it's that. And just even the story of last year's game, like you said, everything else, like just it's a perfect atmosphere for the home opener. I'm very interested to see what it's going to be like, because this is the one thing the one complaint I had about the schedule, and it made me mad earlier in the week, so I'm over it by now. But this is not a double header for Monday Night Football. They're crossing over with each other. I guess it's something they're trying, and I understand the concept behind it, because if you're looking at it like from a deep ratings perspective, like the Bills' local ratings are going to be through the roof for that game, like probably the biggest of the season. So they know they're going to get a good rating on ESPN, on cable, and Philly, Minneapolis, big market NFC teams. That'll get a good casual rating on ABC. I like it. I'll have both screens up. I'll be watching, so I can complain much.
I love that we have the earlier game, because what I think will happen is obviously everybody in the country is going to tune in for the earlier game that night, and they're going to watch that the whole way through. And then once our game ends, then they'll flip over to the Minnesota game and catch the second half of that.
For sure.
So it's an interesting scheduling, but it doesn't bother me as much as it's bothering some people on Twitter.
The one thing that's interesting to me about it too is the disadvantage they're kind of giving Tennessee in this, because the Bills will have 11 days rest going into that game, because they obviously start the season Thursday night and then they don't play again until Monday. So they get a huge rest going into that Tennessee game. And you know what? That's what happens when you're one of the better teams in the league. They give you those scheduling things. They want you on TV when they want you on there. So it's a nice little wrinkle there. Will be really weird to have the first two NFL Sundays not have the Bills playing, because just how much you're accustomed.
Isn't that going to be so bizarre?
I don't even know how I'm going to react. Like 2 weeks, like 1 week was weird.
It's going to be so weird.
2 weeks. Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll see. It's still gonna be fun. Like the Monday night. I don't know which team will get the announced team. It would be interesting to get Buck and Aikman, but I feel like they'll be the ABC broadcast. So the opposite, the one they've been doing second, is Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit, which would be an awesome period to hear.
I don't think it could be Herbie, because now isn't he?
See the thing. You're right. You're right, because the thing about Herbie now is that he's with Amazon, and he's going to be calling the college games too. So it's like he's going to be busy that weekend.
I don't know who that crew would be. If they would do Steve Levy again, but I feel like they just fired him. So
they kind of rid of him.
I don't know.
So I'm wondering, but maybe it is Buck and Aikman, because it's the Bills game, and that's ESPN actually, and whatever. So maybe we'll see. That is the better game of the night too, like much better than Eagles Vikings, for sure. So I think it's my pick now, right? Yeah. Let's see here. So we got rid of. I gotta take the opener, I guess. That's the best game. That's the best game last season opener. So let's dive into the season opener. It's the first game we'll see. We'll see Von Miller back at his Homestead for, I guess, like 8 games, but obviously had a huge impact on him. Won a Super Bowl there in LA. Stafford, Allen on the turf in the dome. The kind of throws that they're probably going to go off is going to be nuts. It wasn't Stafford when they had that matchup during the COVID year a couple years ago in Buffalo. It was Goff, but an electric game literally came down to the final play.
Could you imagine if there were fans in the stands for that game?
That I always think
the stadium would have collapsed.
That game was literally like a surreal experience watching it. Just the swing of emotions that you were having during it. So how do you feel about week 1? Do you feel confident? They're the only game they're underdogs this whole season so far as week 1 listed on the schedule there.
Von Miller going back, there's going to be juice. This Buffalo Bills team, it's Super Bowl or bust. Got to take down defending Super Bowl champions if you want to get to that point. But the thing with the Bills' schedule as a whole, yes, we're in many opinions the best team in football. There's a chance we could start the season off 0-2 if we don't get off to a great start. The Rams and Titans are two, Rams Super Bowl champs, and the Titans were the number 1 seed in the AFC last year. So we have to get off to a good start. We don't have a choice. So that's an interesting storyline development and the scheduling right there. But just in terms of week 1, kick off the NFL season, it's going to be a fantastic game. Yeah, an absolute battle. Two of the best going at it.
And so I was going to ask you about that because this is a hard schedule throughout because obviously you're the number one seed. Like those are going to be, or number one in your division. Those are going to be hard as it is. But the AFC North is, I mean,
it's always a dog
quality
fight.
teams throughout, always a dogfight. Even the NFC North, like those teams are, I mean, the Lions and Bears haven't been great. The Vikings are going to be probably pretty good again this year. They're always pretty solid. But I think the Lions and Bears are going to be scrappier than people think this year too. Like not bottom feeders. So there's not really any easy games, division games, regardless. You just want to win those. Doesn't matter. Like, need to take those seriously. But the toughest stretch, I think, is this first 6 week stretch is brutal at LA, like you said, home to Tennessee. Then you go also to Miami in September, which they just did last year too, but it's going to be 90 degrees, whatever. We don't know what Miami's going to look like. I don't have a lot of faith into it either, but we just don't know. And they have talent all over the ball. Then we talked about that Baltimore game. That's going to be electric. And the thing about this is you find out Baltimore and Pittsburgh, there's always been a notion that the week after you play them is tough because they're so physical. That for years that's been the case. And they have to play them back to back. Like playing Baltimore and then the Chiefs after that. After you get beat up by the Ravens and Steelers, then you have to go to Kansas City. So those 3 games I think is the toughest stretch. But the first 6 games we're going to find out a lot.
That bye week is
clutch.
Like, we're gonna need it. We're gonna need it.
That's what they had to be thinking. Like the Bills deserve the bye after that. We're gonna put them through the ringer. You guys got to prove it to start the season, and then we'll let off the gas a little bit. But that's a prove it. Like if they come out at like 5-1 or 6-0 even. Like I mean, I don't think that's crazy. Like I'm gonna talk about them going like 6-1. 9-1, 10, because it's very realistic this year. Like that is the expectations it could be. We've seen teams go on runs like this. I truly so you have to think of that as a possibility. They could come out of it like that, but they could also come out of it like you said. Those first 2 games, I could see them losing to the Rams, especially in that opener. Tennessee is going to give them trouble. Baltimore, I mean Miami division game, we don't know about them, whatever, but they dominate Miami. Baltimore going to have a bounce back year. They were just ravaged by injuries last year. I think the Steelers are probably the weakest team of this group, and having that game at home, and especially the taste in their mouth they'll have from last year's game at home. And if it's Mitchell, and they just like, I don't think Mitch is coming in and outdoing Josh Allen.
I mean, you still have to find a way to block TJ Watt, though.
That is true. That's always
a
problem.
And Cam Hayward. You know, I mean, that defense is still no joke.
All right, so who you got here for your 6th pick?
I was actually going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers game. Home. I think just in terms of, storyline, Mitch Trubisky coming back, assuming he's the starter.
True.
That's a fun story. They beat us in our home opener last year, spoiled that day. And it's always great games when we play against Pittsburgh, whether it's here, whether it's at Heinz Field. Always great games. NFC North is, ground and pound, helmets clashing football. So I'm pumped for that game.
Great pick. I mean, and like you said, hard hitting, everything. One of my favorite things is the fans are going to be great. There's going to be a lot of Pittsburgh fans in. There's a lot of Pittsburgh fans in the area. Obviously, the atmosphere is always great for those affairs. Yeah, great selection. I think early season, so we're going to not really like Pittsburgh's still going to be in the thick of it no matter what, depending on what happens with them. So yeah, you got Pittsburgh there. I'm updating this thing. I'm staying on the same path as you here with my pick. Going with the other AFC North home game, Week 11, the Cleveland Browns. This is a biased pick for me as well, as a Kent State graduate, living in Northeast Ohio for 4 years, have a lot of friends in the Cleveland area and such. So that's going to be a really fun afternoon for me. Going to try to gather as much of them up as I can, get them into Orchard Park. I didn't go to the game when they were in Cleveland, but it was downtown tailgating, was at the bars in Cleveland. Terrible experience. One of the worst of my life, watching Hauschka hook that kick in a bar. Literally, like, dude, when I tell you I was surrounded by all Browns fans, like it was every corner of this bar, except like the one girl that I was with who was also from Buffalo that went to Kent. But she was like, we were the only 2 people there was this one kid in front of me that just kept turning around, like talking shit about Josh Allen, like just to me over and over again. So that was the experience I had. So I would really love for them to come to Buffalo and just
get their ass
and reverse that a little bit. Yeah.
No,
so
I wish that the Bills were going to Cleveland or Pittsburgh this year, because that's a quick, fun road trip.
Exactly.
To just take over a city. And, of course, those are the two that are coming to us. So, but, yeah, I mean, you experienced it. You were right in the thick of it.
I was in the thick of that shit, bro. It was a blast, though. I mean, it was great. I had in the Muni lot, I had grown men start barking at me. They're just like, as I was walking, like not even the Browns chant. Like I love the chant. I love to hear we go Brownies. But no, it was just a straight like bark. Like if you walked by a dog that was angry, I was like, I've never experienced that in my life. Only in Cleveland Browns tailgates, though. All right, what do you got here for your next pick, Mitchie? We're on number 8, almost halfway through here.
I'll go with Thursday Night Football. Lambeau Field, or not Lambeau Field, Foxborough.
Whatever. Is it still Gillette? Yes, I think it's still Gillette. Gillette Stadium.
Yeah, Thursday Night Football.
Thursday
in New England. People talk about the Patriots, and Bill Belichick. Like, I don't want to disrespect Bill Belichick, but what they have right now isn't what they had 4 to 5 years ago. This team doesn't have the weapons that the teams of old New England Patriots had.
No.
And people still talk about, like, hey, don't doubt Bill Belichick. Don't doubt this Patriots team. They don't. I mean, our loss against them last year, that was bullshit in the wind, fluke. And then we completely stomped on their throats in the divisional round of the wild card round of the playoffs last year. So I'm excited to see us hopefully beat the hell out of them again in their stadium and shut up all of the New England, hypers and fans.
Yeah, listen. At New England, always a fun game, one you look forward to in the year. I'm with you, man. Like this team, it's not the same team. There's not the same vibe. I think we saw that official stomping in the playoffs really cemented that. I don't want to curse my New England friends too much as my podcast partner Donovan Holden prepares for the Boston Celtics tonight and a crazy game. So I'll let you do that, Mitch. You know where I stand on the New England Patriots, but I'm just gonna I'm doing it in solidarity. You understand where I'm coming from.
There is no fan base that I love to see cry and pout more than New England Patriots fans.
That is very true. They're on the Mount Rushmore for me, right up there with the Toronto Maple Leafs and of the likes of those. It's incredible theater. I actually got into a Twitter spat with a guy I went after the one guy that went after Brother Bill the other day, and I was just like, "Are you upset? Like you're so mad right now? Like he's coming after wings, man." He said Buffalo wings aren't even that good. That was one of his insults. I'm like, you're really hurt to be like talking about food. Like, what are you doing? So it is. I agree. It's hilarious. Great choice there. So I'm surprised this game has made it this long. I'm going with it though. Thanksgiving Day, another Turkey Day matchup. Mitch, I'm sure you're the same as me. I always wanted the Bills, like obsessively. I was just plotting them to be on Thanksgiving. Like anytime they matched up with the Lions, I was like, oh man, come on. And it never happened.
Be on Thanksgiving. Yeah.
And now it's true. Like that's all I have to say. Like it's my childhood dream for the Buffalo Bills coming true, seeing them play the Lions early game Thanksgiving. It's going to be amazing. And I'm going to be there probably. It's a night. You're talking about quick drive road trips, only like a 4 or 5 hour drive.
We're in Chicago.
Great trip. It's going to be a blast there. I think it's going to be another huge Bills contingent there in Detroit. So yeah, how do you feel about another Thanksgiving Day game?
Really cool. Great tradition, great day to sit your ass on the couch and watch football, no matter who's playing. But the fact that it's the Bills getting your Thanksgiving Day started is going to be, just fantastic. Like I said, you're going to wake up hungover on Thanksgiving morning, turn on the TV, and the Bills are going to absolutely beat the brakes off the Detroit Lions.
Oh my God.
Going to be fantastic.
It's going to be glorious. Yeah. It's going to be a great celebration. And then we can just chill out and enjoy the other chaos of the other games. Thanksgiving. We didn't talk about Thanksgiving. It's Giants Cowboys, which no matter how they are is always good theater in some kind of matter, whether it's for good reasons or bad. And then a weird night game, which last year was weird for me too with the Bills Saints. Like that's a strange matchup because usually it's divisional stuff. And this year, Patriots Vikings. on Thanksgiving night, which will still be fun. I think those two teams might be good, maybe, but who knows? Like, I'm hoping they're both battling for wild card spots.
Yeah.
It is a it's such a weird game, such a weird game for a Thursday night. But Thanksgiving in Boston, they'll play that up and everything. I'm sure that'll be really cool. Some of the stuff they can do for that and everything. So I'm excited about that. So it's your pick number 10 here. What do you got?
Let's go with.
I know we're getting down there now.
I know.
There's a couple good ones
with
left.
Our first game at the Jets.
Okay.
Another fan base I love to see miserable. New York Jet fans.
Yes, I agree.
And they are another fan base who, loves to talk about how good they think their team is going to be. They're going to stink. And when we beat the brakes off them again, I just want to see them miserable.
You couldn't have put it better. There's nothing better than beating the Jets. And yeah, I'm not too bullish on the Jets. I think Breece Hall is going to have a really good year just because they need somebody. I'm a little worried for Garrett for the Wilson to Wilson connection because Zach Wilson, man, like I see the arm talent, like I see the arm and like the velocity you can get, but the accuracy is just not there. And not everybody's Josh Allen, bro. Like everybody thinks that they can just fix all these things, and I just don't know. I don't know.
I have a hard time completely trashing quarterbacks after a tough rookie year.
True.
But once you get in your second year, if you don't take any sort of leaps forward, then that's when reality's going to start to set in. So Zach Wilson obviously did not have a good rookie year. You want to think, your brain tells you this guy stinks, but you would have said that about Josh Allen too. You would have probably said that about a handful of quarterbacks right after their rookie year. So it's definitely a year where he has to step it up. So it will be interesting to see how he does and if he is their guy because they missed on Sam Darnold. So
they definitely, they did.
It's going to be tough to miss on two quarterbacks in 4 years, but it would be pretty damn funny.
Yeah, it will be great to see into so I'm with you. I try to give the quarterbacks the time. I've tried to be patient in team building in general is one of my sports beliefs, no matter what the sport is. It wasn't encouraging last year, but they have more weapons for them this year. But they're not ready to step onto the field with the Buffalo Bills. That's not a chance. You're right. We're just going to enjoy them stomping them down, making fun of them on Twitter all day. It's going to be a great Sunday. Always a great Sunday when you're beating up on the Jets. I'm taking with pick 11 the last primetime game at Cincy, Monday Night Football, week 6. Oh, it's week 17 actually. See, I don't remember all the 18 weeks, man. It just throws me off every time I'm looking at it. Week 17 Monday Night Football finale, day after New Year's Day, January 2nd. What more do you need to say? This is going to be a great matchup. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, their first time matching up. Just seeing the receivers are just going to stress me out all week, no matter how good whatever their records are. I'm just going to be terrified the whole week. Just these two teams, like we haven't gotten to see these two iterations of them match up. And there's honestly been a great history of our lifetimes, the last 20 years of Bills-Bengals matchups, even though they both haven't been the most exciting teams. I remember a lot of great Bills-Bengals games. Obviously, the Stevie Johnson game is the biggest one that comes to memory. So this is going to be a blast. And I'm glad that they're getting this late season spotlight on a Monday Night Football with a worthy opponent.
Yeah. Hopefully that game still means something at that point too. Is I think what we're all hopeful for, whether that be home field advantage for the Bills, who knows if the Bengals year last year was a fluke. I don't think it was. So hopefully that game is, really big for playoff implications.
A quick aside, we've seen all these AFC North teams. I think we've picked all of them now at this point. Who is your favorite in the AFC North right now, like as of this podcast?
Who do I think is going to win the AFC North?
Just quick aside from the Bills. Who do you think is going to win the AFC North?
It's probably the Bengals or the Browns, depending if Deshaun Watson plays and how he plays. But I think it's the Bengals to lose. The Ravens, obviously, if Lamar stays healthy, they did him no favors with wide receivers.
Nope.
So who the hell knows with that team? And the Steelers, I just think it's they still have a really good roster, but
Yeah.
you know, you're not going to win a division with Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett learning behind. Like, you're just not there yet.
Mhm.
So I think it's the Bengals, and then the Browns are going to be
Right behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I think that the Bengals, I mean, they did have a better record. Like, I'm not saying like they obviously had a better record, but not like a 15-2, 14-3 type record.
Right.
I think that division winner is going to be like around 11-6, 12-5,
completely.
10-7 range,
Yeah.
and they're going to beat the hell out of each other. I'm with you though. The Ravens really, like, I want to sit here and pick the Ravens just because I think Lamar is incredible, obviously, and I think that they had shit injury luck last year, as bad as it could possibly get. I mean, no running backs, no defensive backs by the end of the year. It was just crazy. But I do think the teams around them have just gotten better too. But the Browns.
Who are the Ravens receivers? Like, I
don't even know.
Like, Devin Duvernay,
Bateman,
I think, is one of them. And
Rashad Bateman.
Yeah,
they must love him. They must love him.
It's going to be the Lamar to Mark Andrews show.
Well, what'll be nice is they'll have running backs back next year. Like, Dobbins is going to be back and healthy, so that's going to be a big boost for them. But yeah, I'm with you. I think that Bengals, Browns, like they're very close. And Deshaun might
easily
convince
forget
me quick.
how good Deshaun Watson was before all of this.
So
who knows?
That's the thing. Like, Deshaun, and this team is better than this is the better roster than he ever had in Houston, outside of having Hopkins being the stud receiver. They don't have that, but the roster everywhere else around him is better than any team he's ever had.
Way better. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your pick here? We're on pick, I don't even know what number here. Let me check. 12. We're down to the thick of it here.
Did we pick the Bears yet?
No, not.
I'll go with the Chicago Bears. Christmas Eve. That's going to be fun. You know, another holiday game. Gather around with your family, hang out on the couch, catch up, and watch the Bills and Bears. Two historic franchises playing in a historic building. That'll be fun. And that game, you know, the Bears could surprise some people this year if Justin Fields takes a step forward. I'm looking forward to that game for sure.
That's an exciting matchup. We were talking about how we were disappointed about not being able to make it there because obviously it's Christmas Eve, because it's obviously I live here, great city, great venue to watch a football game, historic. Might be the last time the Bills play in Chicago because they're talking about moving a stadium out to the suburbs here. They're having stadium conversations out here in Illinois as well. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, this is going to be so much fun. You know, this is a weird scheduling quirk with Sunday. I haven't looked at the schedule for I believe it's week 17 yet for the V-wide or anything. Maybe I should pull that up here quick. But because Christmas is on Sunday, so there's 11 games on Christmas Eve. So this will be one of the 1 o'clock starts of basically like a full day of football on Christmas Eve that we'll get between the 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock games. And then Sunday, Christmas Day, we have the triple header. We talked about, I picked earlier the matchup between the Broncos and not the Seahawks, which is another exciting matchup, week 1, Broncos Seahawks. I mean, they're really giving us that one there, Monday Night Football. Broncos Rams, I believe Packers Dolphins, and then the nightcap. I really got to get this up here, so just give me a second.
No, you're good. Yeah, I don't know.
Going up. I don't know what it is either. I want to see but it's just strange because it's going to be a Saturday, Sunday matchups of football, and on Christmas, like, just Christmas Day football. It's so crazy, dude. Like, Christmas Day football. Okay, what is the night game? Oh, Tampa, Arizona, which is a blast of a matchup.
Yeah, that's a great. That'd be awesome.
And they even have a Saturday night game, Las Vegas at Pittsburgh, on Saturday night of Christmas Eve. Like, that's gonna be amazing. Like, that could be like a snowy Christmas Eve. You're sitting there watching Steelers, Raiders. That's pretty exciting. Then you look at week 17. Let's go here. So I want to see what they're doing, because New Year's, I wonder what's happening with the New Year's bowl games. They must be all going on like New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, except the Rose Bowl, which is always on New Year's Day, because the NFL is going full slate on January 1st.
Can't compete with the NFL. I don't care how big your college. I mean, I love college football, but you're not competing with the NFL.
This is wild.
On a full day football.
That's always the weirdest. It only happens obviously every 7 years or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's such a weird time when the NFL throws. And then the Bills obviously are not on New Year's Day. That's the week they are on Monday Night Football. Quick schedule aside there. So you picked Christmas Eve here. So we are down really to the thick of it here. I'm going with at Miami week 3. I don't think I have a division game on here yet, but I mean, it's going to be a really interesting matchup. Same reason you said for the Jets. Love when the Bills get to beat up on the Dolphins and then just go and just make fun of their fans who just for some reason think they're going to match up and just Josh Allen's going to come and just destroy them again. I anticipate that happening again in Miami this year. It's also a great trip for anybody that takes it every year. Mm-hmm. Miami's such a fun city. You get to go to the warmth. It's going to be really hot.
Yeah, I just that's the thing with if we were playing the Bears in September and October, I guarantee you, that city would be electric by Buffalo fans. And now with Miami once again being the first 3 games of the season, it's still gonna be gorgeous in Buffalo. So how many people want to escape the cold in Buffalo and go down to Miami? If that game was in December, a ton of people would do it. So
yeah.
There's the schedule for Bills traveling to away games this year it honestly sucks.
Not great. Yeah, it's not great. And even Thanksgiving, it's a trip to Detroit. That's just a little quick road trip. I'm sure people have done that trip a ton in their life in the Buffalo area and stuff. It's not, something crazy. Yeah. The LA trip is it's the crown jewel. That's really if you're just going to go for it, if you really just want to send it for a trip this year, just do that. And you could probably the tickets at SoFi. I'm sure they're going to be higher because it's the trophy ceremony and season opener and everything, but they are attainable tickets. It's not hard to get tickets to games out in LA. So if you can manage to do it, that's a great trip to go out there too. So what's your pick here? We got pick 14. We got 4 picks.
Let me go with Minnesota still on the board.
Yeah.
I'll go with
take the Vikes.
Dalvin James Cook matchup.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't even thinking. My God! Wow, good pull.
Who's going to have more yards that game? It's going to be fun to see. That'll be a great storyline. That'll be awesome.
Wow, I completely forgot about that. That is going to be awesome to see. We got that with the Edmondses for all the Steelers Bills matchups. The Fergusons with the Bills and Dolphins, and now another set of brothers that we get to play this year. Yeah, that's going to be great. And Minnesota is going to be a good team this year. I think. I don't think they're going to be great, but there are people that are picking them to contend with the Packers, thinking that the Packers are going to slip up a little bit in the NFC North.
Their defense is not great, but I mean they have 2 of the best receivers in football, and one of the best running backs in football.
Yep, and it kind of was the year. It was kind of the year from hell for them last year. We're talking about the Ravens' year from hell. It was kind of the Vikings' year from hell last year too. I wouldn't be surprised to see them being a playoff contender and be having a pretty solid record, a 6-3 record going into this game or something like that. And this is kind of a fun matchup. Wow. Yeah. Great pick there. So the NFC North, you were mentioning too, the Bears and Lions. I think those 2 teams are going to be pretty 6-11, that kind of 6-win, 7-win range. They're going to be scrappy. The Lions, obviously, they're everybody's darling scrappy team. Right. Everybody just loves Dan Campbell, loves all this stuff. But the Bears, their weapons aren't flashy. They've, Mooney, Pringle, whatever, but they're all solid 2s, 3s. They're getting the team support. They built their defense up. That's the Bears' identity. Montgomery being back healthy, he was a great back. Fields had great flashes last year. He was just set up so poorly. Everybody knew Matt Nagy was a lame duck the whole year. Right. I roasted Matt Nagy on Twitter and everywhere so many times. Dude, one of my first interactions in this city so far, I had this exact Bills hat on. So some guy was talking Bills with me, and then we were talking Bears. And I was like, I have a lot of faith. We were talking about Mitch, and I was like, I think Mitch got a bad shake because Matt Nagy is just the worst. And the elation on this guy's face to just have an outsider understand how terrible Matt Nagy is. I understood it. I got it right there in that moment. Yeah. I was like, Bears fans just really couldn't stand this man. So I think the vibe is just better around the organization and everything. So NFC North is going to be fun this year too. This is my favorite year when they play both the North divisions because they're close by teams. It's just great storied franchises and everything. Yeah, it's just a blast. So I'm going with week 18 here against New England. Who knows what this matchup could be?
Who knows?
I mean,
yeah.
literally, like,
that could be another.
Could it be for the division?
Game.
Like, if that worst case scenario, it's for the division. Like, best case scenario, the Bills are going for the 1 seed, and the New England's going for a playoff spot, and it's huge Sunday night football, maybe even last game of the season. Like, this is a great. I'm glad that they gave us this game for week 18.
Mm-hmm. And isn't it crazy that we don't play New England for the first time until December?
Yeah, dude. When did they play them last? I mean, even last year was pretty late when that Monday night game. Late. The Monday night game was, I don't remember what week it was. It was in November though, wasn't it? Or no, it was December too last year. It was December 6th. Yeah, so they've done that twice. Wow. It is crazy. It's still just as crazy this year though, like doing that again. And obviously they just they're like the TV matchups right there. They've got a Thursday night game, and then this could be a Saturday or Sunday matchup in a prime time window or a big window for them if they need it to be. And I'm sure it will be. Like, I think New England, for all their faults, I think they're going to be in the thick of things, especially with that extra team. We see teams that are just hanging around way longer, and I don't see them being like a scrub team. Like, I just can't imagine that. But I think them and the Steelers are like around the same range where they're just, the infrastructure's there and they're going to go hard, but they're more likely 7-10, 8-9, 9-8, just missing the playoffs than anything else. But yeah, can't beat a New England matchup.
So I'm just trying to piece together what we have left here.
We've got the Jets at home, the Dolphins at home, and is that it?
Yeah, I want to see the Dolphins at home.
Okay.
Watch Tua try and throw the ball in Buffalo weather in December. And watch him ducks all over the field, and it'll be hilarious.
And hopefully by that point of the season here, I'll bring the schedule up one last time for us as we wrap up our schedule draft here. So my last pick is obviously the New York Jets at home. A fun game. I've gone to that game a bunch of times in my life, see them beat up the Jets, but just not the most exciting match. Just smack dab in the middle of the season. It's right after Sunday Night Football. We're going to be coming off a high of a Sunday Night Football home game. That's going to not be the same. And this Dolphins game could be a Saturday alone in a time slot as well, kind of like that Broncos game a couple years ago and such. But yeah, Tua in the wind, and they might be a bad team. It could be so much fun to just beat up on them that day.
For sure.
All right, so that's our schedule draft. So we've got our things here. I'll run through the picks. I had the Packers at Baltimore, at the Rams, versus Cleveland, at Detroit, at Cincy, at Miami, versus New England, versus the Jets. Literally my last three picks were all division. That's funny. You had at KC versus Tennessee, versus Pittsburgh, or at home versus Pittsburgh, at New England, at New York, at Chicago, home to Minnesota, home to Miami. This schedule, this is a fun schedule. We're gonna have a fun year watching these games, just from the Bills hopefully putting beat downs on all these teams, but to the quality of teams we're seeing. Quality of quarterback play is so much better from last year. We're gonna have some, and just the way the Bills play, the style of play, we're built for exciting games. There's a lot of exciting teams on here. So that's about any other thoughts, like anything else you're most excited about the schedule and the NFL schedule in general. Like, just
once the Super Bowl concludes, really all you got to look forward to is the NFL draft, and then schedule release day, and then you have about 2.5-3 months of absolutely nothing. So I just need training camp to start so I can, get my mind back into it, because we're going to be in for a bit of a stretch here of much nothing.
It's the dead period of football season now. But luckily we've got exciting NBA, NHL playoffs going on right now. So stay locked here at Trainwreck Sports for all that coverage. We got coverage of everything going on in the sports world, and always here at the Crowd Assist podcast presented by Outlet Liquor of Bills football. We'll be back next week with something fun for you guys. But Mitchie, thank you so much, man. This is a blast during happy hour here. It's Friday night, huge NBA games, huge NHL games, beautiful weather. We're gonna go enjoy it. You enjoy it too. Have a great night, folks, and have a great weekend.
Take care.